Sitting on the back of Hercules.
Going for a ride. The GoPro we were talking about, we got some pretty good pictures of a crab that tried to board us. Was trying to fight us, and putting up its claws and looking all big, and
That's awesome.
it climbed right onto the ports, and then Mike had enough of him and scooted away before he could come for a ride.
I wanted to take him. I got overruled,
I think Allison said, no, we can't. We're like, can we keep him?
Drive him around
And
for a
she
little
was
while.
like, no.
Yeah, he just was looking for like a cab ride across
Drop him
town.
off.
Yeah, he wasn't
Cross
trying
town.
to fight. He was, well, we were saying maybe he just wanted to hug, you know. But yeah, maybe he was just trying to hail a ride.
Just had a little bit too much. Needed to ride home.
So how do animals survive when they go up to the surface from the twilight zone? Well, the animals that do that do have ways to compensate for pressure. But I bet there are some accidents where animals get caught up in the water column and currents like push them up and they are not able to compensate. Do you know something about that, Chris or Rebecca?
Probably Rebecca
Or
would
just
be
anyone?
better. I don't know. Rebecca?
Well, a lot of the creatures in the water column are built or designed to successfully migrate up and down the water column.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what they have like to compensate for that, but depending on the organism, you can have like ammonia-filled sacs within you. Sharks have a really fatty liver.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it probably depends on the sea creature.
Yeah.
I think sharks' livers are huge.
Oh, they're absolutely
Yeah.
massive. They're almost the entire length of their body cavity.
It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like a lot of any fish that go down really deep, you won't find typical air-filled
The swim bladders.
because it's too compressible. Just like the reason we don't use any real air-filled containers on the ROV. We'll fill the less sensitive electronics with oil. So like sharks, all that fat is really oily, and that oil is less dense than water, so that's what they use as their buoyancy compensator.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of studies into like the cellular membranes of these organisms, like the lipids and how that can compensate for it.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I was reading about this one specific copepod, I think, and the hadal zone, which is like high pressure, and that's usually like 6,000 or 6,500 meters. And some species of them that live at shallower waters can't tolerate going to higher pressure, but then the ones at the higher pressure can tolerate going to the lower pressure. So just kind of an interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, you see a lot of times with the pressure changes even for shallower depths can be so extreme. Just a couple hundred of feet is enough to internally damage certain creatures. Like you'll see pictures of fishermen pulling up deep sea fish, and you know they reel them all the way up pretty quickly, so they don't have time to compensate or deflate their air bladder. So yeah, a lot of times, even some of the ones that can compensate, they just need a little bit of time to. So if you do it too quickly, it can be quite jarring. But yeah.
It's a nice close-up of a sea cucumber.
So Mike, do you know if the team did something like, we have a question about practical archaeology, like having someone in the bay where the eyewitness was, to see if they can see Nautilus, just to check that that person would have seen, like how would that happen?
No, we haven't tried that. I mean, you can see the island quite well from where we are. From like the level of a boat, we didn't check that. We went based on the coordinates in the accident report and from where the oil slick and debris was found only within a few hours of the crash.
Did we check target 12 or 13, or like those, like close to those numbers that we were? Was that the kayak?
We didn't. There have been quite a few other targets that look like that, so I
Uh-huh.
think it's been an artifact of the sonar.
Okay.
But yeah, for the how far you can see, it's actually a pretty easy calculation you can do. You don't even need to put someone out. Based on height above the water and curvature of the earth, you actually can tell how far a point of view is. So for instance, you know, if you're standing on a really tall building, you can obviously see a lot further than if you're standing on the street. But it's generally considered when you're on the water, the horizon is approximately 10 to 12 nautical miles, depending on conditions. But yeah, that was an approximation, and by no means did we like drop a hard target just based on that person's account and base this whole thing off of it. It's based on a lot more than that.
We're approaching the dinosaur.
We're getting there.
USBL isn't very happy right now, though.
No.
So do we think that bright lights would damage the retinas of the fish and other animals with eyes at that depth?
Yeah, I don't find that the general shuffle is on my iPod anyway. It's not very.
Becca, do you know something about that?
I mean, that's a great question. I think that's been a concern for, I guess, any underwater work with like how much of the robots and lights damaging like the organisms that live down there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to put that back to 10?
I personally don't know
10 meter divisions?
Yeah.
I haven't read anything that says like, oh yeah, they're damaged or anything. We do have a laser on board that I know that they're usually careful about not pointing at organisms' eyes just because of the high intensity of that. But I don't know if the lights from Argus itself would cause any permanent damage.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the question about the lights?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, generally, You figure we have a lot of stuff that will actually come up to investigate. Because if they do have working eyes, it is very bright, but they're intrigued, and then they swim away. But then on top of that, you think of how many things we're looking at that don't even have eyes or working eyes, that no matter how much light you shine at them, they'll never be able to tell.
Exactly.
We do have the ability to control which lights are on. So if at some point it seems like something can't take it, we can turn some of them off.
So we have another question about if any other fish, aside from electric eels or sharks, have some sort of electric organs or extrasensory organs.
Yeah, there's a couple organisms that have electric organs. I believe there's some type of skate of some sort.
Yeah, there's a ray. It lives in the Amazon.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a couple organisms that use it.
Also, I think rays have also some sensitivity.
Yeah, no, the shark sensitivity, the ampullae of Lorenzini, those little pore-looking things focused on their snouts, are actually really cool. They're these basically jelly-filled holes that pick up electrical currents, sometimes even as sensitive as the electrical current in someone's heart. So yeah, they're very sensitive, help them hunt and navigate. But if you have like a shark sample, whether you're studying it, dissecting it, whatever you're doing, you can actually squeeze on the area, and some of the jelly will come out, and sometimes people study it that way just to get samples of it to understand what it's made up of.
I'm reading something very interesting. It deserves further research, I guess. Until recently, it seems like electroreception was known only in vertebrates, but recent research has shown that bees can detect the presence and pattern of static charge on flowers. That's pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
I did say bees were my favorite insect when asked however many watches ago.
Definitely. I agree with that.
So I've had a lot of those coffee beans now, and I'm not feeling a ton right now, and I'm not sure if it's just gonna hit me or if it just can't get over this.
Or maybe you're starting to get immune.
I mean, usually.
Or you're just that tired.
Well,
Yeah.
you've been like, you're pretty Chatty, you're the one that's most awake here, I think.
Well, he's a little bit less chatty than usual.
Is he?
I'd say a little less than usual, but also how much I talk says nothing to how awake I am. My parents would always get mad at me because, you know, when I was in high school, they'd come in on the weekends and.
High school.
Bingo,
Wait.
bingo.
What was that one?
High school.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Didn't even need to say that. I don't know why.
For the people that are
Didn't even
following
need to
us,
say
that.
we've
Sorry, continue
been
your story.
playing bingo.
That's why he
Chris, the
wasn't talking.
navigator.
He was afraid that you were gonna bingo.
I know.
Was that bingo?
No, that's not
No.
bingo yet.
Oh, okay.
There's some target.
It's probably the, I don't know, the dinosaur.
The Megalodon.
Sorry, you were saying your parents would get mad at you.
Yeah, so they would come wake me up, or what they thought was waking me up. And they'd be going to work and say, hey, you know, while we're at work, can you mow the lawn, empty the dishwasher, reload it, like all this stuff around the house. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, I got it, you know. And then they'd go to work, and then I'd actually wake up and be like, oh, wow, I have the whole day to myself. This is fantastic. Go do whatever I wanted, and then they'd come home and be like, we asked you to do all this stuff. Why didn't you do it? I'm like, no, you didn't. You know, it's just because I wasn't awake. I just answer people in my sleep. And it's usually yes, which is the worst answer to just say randomly without acknowledging what you're answering.
So how close are we now to the suspect target area where the report said the clipper sank?
These lines are further west, so we did a 2x2 mile nautical mile area, so it was about a mile on each side of the target, and so we're probably almost another kilometer west, or maybe even more, of outside of that mile. So we're probably nearly 2 miles away from to the west of that location.
It's a cool rock. Very smooth.
That's all that was? Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Can we zoom in a little bit on that one? That's a cool rock.
Zooming
It's
in.
like a white anemone on it.
Hey,
That's
look
cool.
Looks
at
like a
that.
fish
Hey.
with an
Nice.
eye, like,
Yeah.
you see the mouth.
Looks like one of the kaiju in
It's
Pacific Rim.
alive.
I'm gonna misspell anemone. Is there an M?
Look at us getting
Is
super
it
excited
anemone
about
or
rocks.
anemone? It's anemone.
Anemone?
Not
I'll be
anemone.
anemone.
A lemony?
Not anemone.
Lemony.
Anemone.
Anemone.
A lemonade.
A lemonade.
Anemone.
Lemonade.
Don't hurt yourself, kid. Any Finding Nemo fans?
Yeah. Don't hurt yourself, kid.
Why do we have this huge black spot on our sonar?
Well, we had to come up a lot because that rock was really tall.
Oh.
So we got really far away from the bottom, and then now that we're going over that, the bottom's kind of a lot closer. Sway of it.
Collision avoidance.
Yep.
On the left, the large black spot is the shadow. In the middle, it's just
Right.
what's under Argus that we're looking at with the camera.
Yeah. On the right, it's just because the bottom's a lot further away on that side.
That was one big rock. I think that was more like a lava flow. We must have gone over it already, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
We just went from 20 meters
Yeah.
altitude to 30 meters altitude
Pretty big ridge here.
from coming
It's all
off of
coming
that
down.
rock. Yeah, it's a tall rock.
Now, see, if that didn't show up in the multi-beam, then something like an aircraft definitely would not.
Well, there was a little bit of a rise in the multi-beam.
Oh,
there.
right.
That was the dinosaur
I
head.
keep looking at where the ship is. That's right, never mind. That was a big rise.
Yeah, still very.
We already passed the target area. We did scan the whole area, and now we're going beyond the area because we didn't find anything very, very promising there. So here we are. What kind of computer resolution do they need to see what we're seeing on channel 2? That's a good question.
We're not seeing very much, so
Yeah.
I don't think it's a resolution problem.
Yeah, I think the stream comes across at 720.
What are we looking at? 1028?
Mm-hmm.
That's a resolution, right?
1080.
1080?
Yeah.
That was close.
Yeah, I have a HD 1080 monitor, 1080p. Well, 1080 by 1920 by 1080. And what's 720? 12 something by 720.
Cool.
1260 by 720. 16 by 9 ratio.
When that icon popped up under your mouse, I tried to move my mouse to get rid of it, and that didn't work. But then you moved it, so it was good.
So do military submarines map the oceans as well? And if they map it, would they share that with the scientific community?
They do not if they do, because that would give away where they've been and their routes. So they share nothing.
But I don't think they have active sonar. So active sonar is like what we're using, where we're sending out a ping or an acoustic wave and then measuring the response. Most submarines use passive sonar, where they just listen and they're not actually sending out a signal. And that's because they're trying to hear other propellers and other things in the area. And if they're sending out sound, they're not going to be able to hear that. So I've never heard of a military submarine using a multi-beam sonar, and I would be very surprised if they did, but again, I don't know all those secrets. They might use something totally that none of us have ever heard of. I doubt it, though.
And regarding lightning strikes in the water, they're not as common as on Earth, or like on land. And the electric charge does travel through water. I guess it depends how deep and how far it goes. Depends on the discharge of electricity. Does anyone know about that a little more?
If they're thinking about it reaching Argus, I'm going to go with a solid it's not going to. Plus, there's protections in the system, you know, just like any other computer system, that make it harder to blow out. But yeah, no, we're pretty safe out here.
From that, at least.
From that. Bridge now. Request me hold position. Thank you. This is going to be a little sharp turn if we try to just go straight for it, so I think I'm going to let Argus swing in a little bit and do it up and around kind of a deal.
I'm gonna ask about this, posting the recent log entries so you can scroll them down and read them. Yeah, let me know. I'll let you know what I find about that. Has Nautilus ever been involved in a confrontation with any country's naval vessels? Not that I know of.
I'm going to go with
Not that I know of.
no. That being said, before it was Nautilus, I don't know too much about it.
Yeah, before it was Nautilus, maybe. I don't know. It was a research ship in the Baltic Sea, so I'd still be surprised if it did.
Yeah. So does it feel strange to explore places where so few people have explored? I wouldn't call that feeling strange. I would say it's exciting.
Yeah, I'd say the only real time I'd use the word strange is if you're just like thinking about like being down there and no one having ever set eyes on the same thing you're looking at before. That's pretty strange to think about.
So you're saying it is strange?
Yeah, that sounds like a yes.
So, yes.
Yeah, maybe sometimes.
It's interesting because the speed at which you talk, Chris, has decreased in the last couple of days. So you're speaking slower.
I'm
No,
sorry.
no, that's you in 3 days. So you just.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I wonder if I'm gonna do the same for next expedition. I'm
Well,
gonna be
it's kind of
slower.
been it's a bell curve, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I started slow when I was trying to learn everything,
Mm-hmm.
and then it starts to ramp up.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to leave, so I guess I gotta slow it back down, you know.
It seems like someone found a spelling mistake in anemone in the.
Yeah, I looked it up right after I sent in that note.
Wasn't that part of our bingo though?
We had put it down for the next card, but we had not made that card.
So I'm still good.
And thanks to our viewer
You
that
can
patched
pre-bingo
that
it.
up.
Yes, there
We,
is an M
But
in
that's
there.
that is such a hard word to like
Not an N.
visualize. I was even like when I said over to her, oh, it's this. I was like, wait, I had to think about it because I haven't been thinking about or typing the word anemone in a few years. And, yeah, and I wasn't being silly because of Finding Nemo. I was like legitimately, I don't remember the N or the M is first, or second and third, whatever. Yeah, that. Who named that? That. Ampullae of Lorenzini is also nearly impossible to remember. I know now because you said it a few minutes ago, but like.
Oh, like the name?
Yeah, just the phrase.
I don't know why it came to me.
But it's just like.
But everyone
we call them like gel pores. I mean, like something normal. Like ampullae of Lorenzini is just freaking.
Yeah, it's like the
complicated.
We were talking last cruise about the tapetum lucidum, which is
What?
The what?
it's what makes eyes reflect at night.
Oh my god.
So like sharks have it,
Say it
you
again.
know,
What's it?
tapetum lucidum.
Jesus.
It roughly translates to rug of light.
Rug of light. Oh, okay.
It's basically a film at the back of.
That's Latin, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tapetum lucidum. Okay, now I know what you're saying. Yeah.
About the back of their eyes, it like double reflects the light, so that they can see better at night. So you know, you think like any nocturnal animals, like dogs, cats, raccoons, sharks, all those kinds of things have it, and that's another one that's kind of hard to.
And we were saying that's why it looks like their eyes are glowing when we see them.
Yeah, because the light is usually it's for a low level of light, but when you shine a higher level of light at it, it reflects a lot more.
And do we have one that gives us? Do we have one?
No.
What? I thought someone said that's what gives us like red, like when you take a photo.
No, that's the blood in your
That's-
eye
yeah,
is what
the
gives
back
you
of
red
your-
eye.
cool.
Gross.
Yeah. Well, because, yeah, Alex, our last SCF on this watch, was saying she does like a science thing with it at her museum where she like asked all the kids and she goes, so what in the human body is red that would like potentially make red eye be that color? And the kids think and they're like, blood? And she goes, exactly. And they're all like, ew. But it makes sense, I guess.
Hello, welcome Uruguay. I get super excited when I see Latin American countries following us.
I guess that's why albino creatures have red eyes, 'cause they don't have the melanin. So it's always you always see the back of their eye.
Hmm.
So we are now northwest of Pango Pango, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're northwest of Pango Pango in American Samoa. And you're studying English and you're listening to us. That's great.
Good way to learn.
Yeah,
Difficult with how many different, I'm sure,
You can pick up some Latin along the way.
inflections and dialects we got going on here.
Yeah, totally. Even my accent must be like difficult to understand if you're just learning.
Well, I'm just imagining, like, if you learn a language, and a lot of times, like, if your teacher has a specific accent, you'll pick it up just like them. So I'm just imagining this person learning English,
Yeah.
and then having Mike's accent,
Yeah, from Nautilus Live.
and and then they're like, "Oh, are you Canadian?" I'm like, "No, I just learned English from Nautilus Live."
Yeah, so my first teacher was my mom, and she learned English in the UK, and most of her life she studied in British schools, so the accent was pretty BBC accent. And then when I went to high school, my teacher was from the US, and I was like, what's wrong with this person?
It's very different.
And then I got super used to that one, and then we got an Australian teacher.
Oh, that's
And
confusing.
I was like, what?
Yeah, it's, again,
I didn't understand anything. I remember going back home, like almost crying, like, because I used to love English. And then after that, that teacher was very, very hard for me. And then I got super used to that one, and so on, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes if someone has a thick enough accent, they talk fast enough and I can't understand what they're saying. So if I didn't already know, like, the language as my first language, I can't even imagine.
Yeah. But that also happens in Spanish. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember thinking, just like, because I learned so many words in Spanish and kind of understand the context, that I could listen to conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, when you're used to it, you speak so much faster than you do in class. So you try to listen to a conversation, like, I don't know what's going on.
I went to do some work in the Patagonia in Chile, and they would talk to me in Spanish, of course, but Patagonian Spanish in Chile, and I was like, what? And I kept asking what, and then one of the kids there thought I was deaf.
No, so just started talking louder.
Because I would keep asking, like, what? Sorry, what was that? It was not that I couldn't hear. I couldn't understand because they speak so fast and so different from me.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I think that might actually be one of the first times I've ever heard Patagonia used in a sentence, and it was actual Patagonia, not the clothing brand.
Oh, we haven't talked about snacks. Okay, so what's your favorite snack on board?
Cookies.
I like the cold crepes, actually.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
I'd say the chocolate chip cookies are the best.
For sure.
I haven't done it this trip, but I used to, like, when I was up in the middle of the night, I would make cornflakes with milk and then a glob of peanut butter in it.
Oh, God.
Hmm.
Yummy.
And then you just, like, take a little bit of that when you take a scoop of the cereal.
Wow. If this was last year, I would have said Nutella and pretzels, but they don't have Nutella this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's very
They've always
sad.
had Nutella.
Oh,
Yeah.
yum.
I don't like Nutella, but they've always had
What?
it.
Why?
It's too sweet.
Like,
It's
toast
overly
is just
sweet.
a vessel for the Nutella.
For butter.
No. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love butter, but you just put as much Nutella as can physically fit on a piece of toast.
The only reason why I don't like Nutella or other snacks like that is when they have palm oil in them.
Why
That
is
makes
that?
Oh,
me
yeah,
feel
is it
bad.
Oh.
Ah.
Yeah. And how many coffee beans can we fit in our mouths at one time? That's
We're not doing that. Nope.
86.
yeah.
86. No, 56. It has to be 56.
Yes, 56.
Did you count really?
No, but
Yes.
that was our number.
Steve, did you try that?
Yes.
Can you expand a little bit more on that experience?
No.
His mouth
Perfect.
couldn't either. Yeah, I was gonna say, just while they're in your mouth, I imagine you overdosing on caffeine, like the worst way to make coffee. Put coffee grounds in your mouth and pour boiling water in.
However, it would work.
It would work. You just probably wouldn't be able to taste anything ever again.
Probably not.
Yeah. Never do that.
I want to know more about your experience, Steve. I know that you don't want to talk about it, but if you change your mind at some point.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Have you guys ever played Chubby Bunny?
No.
Yeah.
What's
Do
that?
you know what it is?
Uh-uh.
Rebecca knows what it is.
Familiar.
So it's where you take marshmallows and
Chubby
you-
Buddy or Bunny?
bunny,
Bunny, okay.
like the animal.
Like the rabbit.
Yeah.
Got it.
And you put like a marshmallow in your mouth and you say Chubby Bunny. And
Oh.
every time you do it, you put another marshmallow in your mouth, and these are like the big marshmallows.
Yeah.
And so eventually your mouth is just full of marshmallows, and you're just like, holy boy. And then it's really funny, and then you start laughing.
And then you choke
and also, don't try that at home.
I'd probably choke on like the second one because I don't like,
Yeah, always,
I don't like marshmallows.
when in
Gross.
doubt, always be ready to, I don't know, just like,
I have an interaction right now
Give up.
with some people, so I'm gonna be back.
Okay.
I'll miss you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
we'll see you in the camera.
Yeah.
The granola snack peanut butter chocolate bars the other day were good.
Yeah, the little crumbly thing yesterday.
Oh, I love the song.
Bridge, no?
We saw Billy Joel live at Madison Square Garden a few years back.
Request a 50-meter step bearing 335. Thank you. What about pterodactyl? That's a safer one. No risk of choking. Pterodactyl is you and however many people want to play.
Oh yeah, I've done that
Cover your
one.
teeth with your lips. You say the word pterodactyl and then make a pterodactyl sound, and the first person to show their teeth, like smiling, loses. So you just cover your teeth and go pterodactyl. And just keep going around until someone loses.
I would lose so fast.
Pterodactyl.
Okay, are we playing?
No.
So-
No, I don't think that would
Oh.
be appreciated too much by the viewers.
Okay, we'll do it later.
Yeah, we'll play with some fun people.
If you guys want to participate, play it at home. It's fun for all ages and easier for those with dentures.
That's cheating.
For those watching, it's about 5:20 in the morning here, so if that explains anything.
Yeah. This is what happens when those coffee beans start to kick in.
Ah, there he is. He's coming back.
I'm alive. Yeah, if you ever find me unresponsive on the floor, don't get the defibrillator, just get some coffee beans.
Someone's entertained by us. They said we have no idea how much they're laughing.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, they're laughing? Oh, that's fantastic. I'm so happy.
It may be at us and not with us, but
Probably.
Hey,
We'll
that's
take it.
still, yeah. That's same for my usual.
Lots of cool things in the water column. I kind of wish Argus had like a butterfly net. Just capture some of them.
Just a continuous
Figure out what they
Don't
are.
slurp.
catch the things. Just observe.
Just observing.
Except when we're trying to catch the things. Then catch the things.
No.
I was thinking about it, and in a total day, we're up here for 8 hours total, and
That's correct.
there's an amount of science and we're observing the whole time, but we're also having conversations, and I realized that this is probably some of the most consistent, like, long periods of human interaction that you get. Like, when else in a day are you just consistently talking to people for 8 hours?
I didn't know this was up.
Depends on your job.
Yeah, customer service might.
True. Telemarketers. That being said, most telemarketing calls I get now are all automated.
Or nobody answers the phone. 'Cause people screen their calls.
Yeah. If you answer and there's a pause, I hang up. And there's no caller ID, obviously. If one of my friends paused for a second, I wouldn't just hang up on them.
sometimes I just answer the phone and just put it down.
Just walk away.
But like keep the call going.
Yeah.
Well, because now they have the calls where if you don't, you have to listen, and if you're interested, you push 1. If you want to be removed from the call list, you push like either 2 or 9, but it changes. And if you don't do either, they call back. So they make you listen to the whole message to be able to hit 2 or 9. That's an annoying gimmick.
I have a couple friends who'll just answer it, they'll get the call. It's clearly a telemarketer. You can tell by the number, and they'll pick up the phone and be like, "Hello, Domino's Pizza. What can I get for you?" And
Yeah, but most of them are automated anyway, so it doesn't matter.
oh yeah, no, you get. Have you ever downloaded one of those apps that answers them for you?
Nope.
So like the few like real people that you get, they have apps that you can download that will answer them and have like pre-recordings that are like triggered by sound. So when the person's talking, it'll like wait and then give a response. And like some of them are really good.
That's cool. I like that.
It'll like record their conversation for you so you can listen back later.
What did I just agree to?
I'm gonna get that and just use it on SPL.
Yeah. You just need the setting.
There's the calls, the scam calls for people to try and get you to give them.
Okay.
You're not on mic, you know that, right?
He has it on.
It's up by his head, though.
Oh.
Go, that's better. The
Welcome back.
We were reading your mind though. Your brain waves were coming through the mic.
the calls where the scammers try and get you to give them remote access to your desktop.
Yeah, right.
Those are good. I had one of those one day, and I was home doing computer work. Just sat down, and I'd had them before and just hung up on them. But I just kept it going for 2 hours.
Just because you're, oh my God.
Just talking away on speakerphone, not having anything to do with it. It's frustrating them.
But yeah, I just clicked it. I don't know.
It's those that come from an email where they like ask for credit card information and or social security numbers and stuff that are really dangerous and can really damage you if you do that. So public service announcement: don't ever give your credit card or information or social security number to anyone in email that like asks for it. If they say it's your bank or whatever, they don't need it through an email or on the phone.
It seems so obvious, but then
Yeah.
they don't need many people, right? They send out so much. They're just preying on like generally
exactly,
older people that are not as familiar with the technology.
Yeah, my dad was one time like I think walking in New York City and got a call, and like they're like, hey, it's whatever bank, and we just need to verify something and need your social number, and he's like busy and like tired and like trying to avoid people on the sidewalk. He's like, okay, and just like said it, and then immediately he was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then he hung up and just called the bank and canceled everything, just like instantly, because he knew exactly what he had done, but he hadn't been thinking for like 2 seconds.
I get the ones where it's like, this is a message from the IRS.
Yeah.
You're gonna say, oh yeah, there's a warrant out for your arrest
those
unless
are-
you pay.
We have
They're
those
never
too.
gonna, the
for
IRS won't call you. They'll send you a letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
and
have
then
those
bang on
for
your door.
CRA. They're hilarious because they don't. It's usually from overseas somewhere, and they don't have the nuances of the language down. And if you like listen to it, it's just entertaining, you know. And the police are gonna come for you. They're gonna come to your door right now. You gotta pay right now. Listen.
Listen.
If you don't pay, it's just so funny.
We I mean, all emails that we send out over our networks are screened to make sure that we don't do that, especially a lot of like students being younger and not thinking about it. So if they catch like social security, tax information, stuff like that, they'll flag it and stop it from going out, which is really helpful, and then have a talk with you about web security. But we do practices of, they call them phishing emails with a PH, which is, you know, those emails that get sent out like, click on this link to do whatever, and you click on it and it downloads a virus. Obviously, that's very prevalent for government organizations, that people try to get them download viruses and download information. So they send out like practice ones for us, and there's always like some way to tell, like spelling errors, or it just doesn't make sense, weird colored font, Or like if you actually like hover over the link, it's not actually what it says it is, you know. And so you get pretty good at watching out for it, because if they catch you on any of the practices during our cybersecurity trainings, they'll like put your picture up on the projector in front of everyone and make fun of you.
That's a good deterrent.
So yeah, it really is.
They just shame you, huh?
Oh yeah, it's
Public
great.
shaming.
Bridge nav. Request a 50 meter step bearing 258. Thank you. All right, coming around.
Somebody said they tried the pterodactyl game with us.
Oh yeah?
Yep. But they
Not
left.
by themselves, I hope.
In the
With
mirror,
us.
they lost.
Yeah.
Another commenter says, I'm avidly watching Nautilus and Okeanos on my computer as I work from home. After several seasons, I am consistently looking forward to each season, and I learn so much. And yes, I chuckle quite frequently too. Great job, Nautilus team.
Oh, thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks for
Great
that
to
one.
hear, yeah.
That sea cucumber keeps going back and forth.
Yeah, is that an Argus? I think he got out.
What?
Oh no,
Yeah.
I saw the sea cucumber go into the middle of Argus.
Yeah.
It's, I don't see any more though, probably floated out.
Cucumber salad.
Yes, viewer, we crack ourselves up too. Bridge now. One more step, please.